Assalamu alaikum, Sayyidi.
Walaikum salam.
Element on the periodic table related to Karbala?
Because the periodic table is a table of elements. So the mercury has to do with shaitan and the toxicity. Oxygen has to do with our breath. Carbon has to do with our dunya existence. So our elemental understanding is a one way of a universal description, still in the level of dunya, not in the level of akhirah. So alien nations, they don't describe you as a human and they don't describe you as, oh he's a tall handsome 6 foot white guy. They're going to describe you based on your elements, that this is a carbon creature because his main element is carbon, or maybe someone else on another planet their main element may be nitrogen or silica. So the jinn, their main element is not carbon, it's silica, and there's a similarity between silica and carbon. So somebody was asking, and I think one of my kids was asking, that the jinn race, is it silica based? And I said, yes, as a matter of fact their home and residence is based on silica. And then the similarity of the silica element to carbon element. So depends on what science and what the person is meditating and what's coming to their heart, then Allah expands that heart and its understanding and its point of reference. That each of the elements have a significance, but you have to focus on and to open up its understanding that there are noble gases, 9 noble gases. But titanium, then inshaAllah we look into it. And iron, Imam Mahdi salam has to do with iron. Hadid. And the realities of hadid and 57 I think is in Qur'an, and Allah gives the number of elements by the number of the surah. So iron is an element that cannot be made on earth. So it comes from the heavens, as a result it's brought onto the earth and we find it as an essential element within the earth. But the secret of iron, that it has such a immense amount of power within the atom of iron. So dunya uses it to explode. So they make their explosive devices from iron because there's such an immense force to make an atom of iron that we cannot make it on dunya. So as a result they try to separate it. By the force they use to break the atom, it releases exponential amount of force out. That's why it's so destructive in dunya. But it's symbolic of the presence of Sayyidina Mahdi salam. It's something that is not made from dunya but it's coming on to dunya. Means the immensity of its power and the immensity of its reality. And that the 57th surah then has to do immense reality of the presence of Sayyidina Mahdi salam. So elements have understandings of different creatures, different things, different events. And if you wanted to universally describe creatures, you would describe them by their elemental structure, not the shikl, the form. So we are of a carbon based creature and we have a certain amount of oxygen within our system. Others may have a higher element of nitrogen. They say in the dinosaurs when everything was huge and big, the only reason they could be big was the level of nitrogen in the air was more. Those huge creatures wouldn't grow now with the level of oxygen that we have in our atmosphere. So it means all of these elements will then show something that's happening or creatures that are existing on that plane. So the creatures that exist on Mars, they probably have different forms, different structures for the location in which they're existing. InshaAllah. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifoon wa salaamun al mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Bi hurmati Muhammad al-Mustafa wa bi sirri Surat al-Fatiha.
Düşmüş düş kalplere ya Mehdi.